Against the Ropes Podcast.
Contra las cuerdas.
Against the Ropes Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. AtR Podcast. Gio Garcia here alongside Christian Mosqueda, back with another live show. Back at it again. Chris, welcome back.
Hey, man, we're in Hawaii, Gio, but we had to keep it moving. Big week of boxing coming up. One of the greats, future greats, current pound for pounders, about to do it again. So let's get into it.
All right, yeah, we'll be talking Inoue Doheny. We'll also be talking, of course, Shakur Stevenson. We'll go ahead and start with that. We got some action on Saturday as well here in LA. Pacheco, Sulecki. We got some that Canelo, Berlanga undercard shaping up as well. And then we'll be talking about the September fight calendar. So let's go right into it, man. Let's go ahead with Skakur Stevenson. Joe Cordina, Chris. Shakur Stevenson signing with Matchroom. Eddie Hearns, right? Earn with Hearn. He's now with Matchroom. He'll be fighting Joe Cordina. We'll get into the records and all that. But, let me go ahead and pull up this article real quick for you guys because I'm not sure if you read about this already. He'll be fighting on pay-per-view, right? So his fight will be on the Zone. The main event will be on ESPN Plus. That's Beterbiev versus Bivol. The main event will be on ESPN Plus if you're a subscriber. But if you want to watch Shakur fight, you'll have to pay for the pay-per-view. What are your thoughts on that? First of all, him signing with Hearn, him fighting Cordina, and him fighting on pay-per-view.
This is the first time we're going to pay to go to sleep, right, Gio? Again, it's a bit of a shocker, and at the same time, not a shocker that it's Eddie Hearns. We know that Eddie Hearns, for the longest time, was very high on Devin Haney, and we know Devin Haney's style. Boom, that happens right with Ryan Garcia, so he's got to find his next blue chip fighter. So, not surprised there that he got Shakur Stevenson. He probably thinks like, oh, I got it wrong with Devin Haney. I thought he was unbeatable. He said it at one time. Devin Haney's unbeatable, but I think he's thinking Shakur Stevenson is that guy now. So a little bit of a shock, a little bit at the same time, not too shocking. But hey, it seems that Eddie Hearn thinks that Shakur is the guy. What are your thoughts, Gio, on that signing?
Yeah, of course, Eddie. Now I think I didn't read the article, but there was a headline where he said Shakur might be unbeatable. And of course, he's working with him now, so he has to, promote him. That's what good promoters do, right? I do like that Eddie backs his fighters, but pay-per-view, I don't know how to feel about that. I'm not sure how many people will want to pay for that. I know, obviously, Matchroom has that exclusive deal with the Zone. But pay-per-view, Joe Cordina, I'm good. I mean, I subscribe to ESPN Plus, so that main event will be quote unquote free for me. So I'm happy with that. I don't need to watch Shakur, and damn sure I don't need to pay for that.
Yeah, again, it's a big ask to put a guy like Shakur Stevenson who doesn't have a proven track record when it comes to selling. Not just that, but once you finally get some people to buy in, you got to retain them. And a lot of us are even though we know that he's skilled, he will win most of his matches by outboxing his opponents. He is not exciting. And so again, you're talking about the casual viewer, the mainstream viewer. You gotta pull them back. And sadly, Shakur does not take enough chances to make it interesting, to make it exciting, to make you want to see him again. Again, we don't make these jokes up, man, about us going to sleep. This isn't coming from the AtR podcast, man. This is something that is well known throughout the boxing circles. He just has a boring style, Gio.
Starting hot, Chris. That whole sun is doing something to you. But hey, let's go with Shakur right here. Shakur Stevenson. Wait, get out of here. Shakur Stevenson, Ash Shakur Stevenson. He fights like an Ash, Chris. He sounds like an Ash. He acts like an Ash. All right, but look, he's 27 years old, 22-0. 10 KOs only to his name, right? We always talk about early in your career. That's when you're supposed to rack up those KOs. Less than a 50% KO ratio. Terrible. No power, Shakur. He might get one here, though. He might get one here. Joe Cordina, 17-1, only 9 KOs. He's from the United Kingdom, Wales, 32 years old. He's coming off a loss. TKO at that. So, yeah, as I said, I'm definitely not paying for this. And if we check out Shakur's last few performances, Artem Harutyunyan, however you say his name, meaningless opponent. De Los Santos, I mean, that one put us to sleep on a Thursday night, Chris. Everybody was rested for work the next morning. Yoshino, he actually got a TKO on that one. I believe it was a body shot, if I remember correctly, con Cesar. His last few opponents, Valdez, that was a really good win. But yeah, we'll see what happens next. I'm sure Turkey Al-Sheikh and Eddie Hearn will want to line him up with some of the top names. But for now, we're getting Joe Cordina pay-per-view. I'm not excited about it.
And Gio, this one is taking place where again? This fight?
This is in Saudi Arabia. This is that Beterbiev Bivol mega fight that's going down October 12th. That's going down in Saudi Arabia. Let's go ahead and click on that event. Of course, Beterbiev versus Bivol. Here, let me pull this up for you guys. Alpataya is on that card as well. His opponent, Jack Massey, 22-2. Chris Eubank Jr. is on that. Many people thought he was getting the Canelo payday, but that didn't happen. Shakur on that. Sky Nicholson, Ben Whitaker, and some of the guys I've never heard of. But Big Bro says underwhelming card overall. Hey, I'm excited about the main event. I'm not paying for that pay-per-view fight for Shakur. Once again, if you're just joining us, Shakur's fight will be streamed on pay-per-view, right? And if you subscribe to ESPN Plus, you'll be able to watch that Beterbiev Bivol main event fight, quote unquote, for free, right? Because you got to subscribe for ESPN. But it's no additional pay-per-view. That's the good news. But we'll see what happens with Shakur and Eddie Hearns.
Yeah, like Big Bro said, there's some names, but nothing too exciting. Again, it takes me back to the event that we saw in Los Angeles, Gio. I'm gonna admit I was one of the guys that kind of hyped up that event. I felt that because there was names, it was gonna live up to a bit of the hype. I gotta commend, I gotta bow the head to you. You said that you were not excited about that event. It turned out to be a bit of a dud in terms of excitement. Come fight night. Everything else outside the ring, we give Turkey Al-Sheikh his flowers. He did everything great when it comes to production, when it comes to those free fights that they had beforehand. all the way up to the fireworks, which are things that he didn't have to spend, but he's trying to add some excitement to that event. So outside of production, I thought it was great, but come fight night, those fights again, like you said, were not competitive. Wasn't the most exciting night, I must admit. Outside of Eminem, it was a not memorable kind of event, to be honest, when it comes to fight. So this event kind of gives me that kind of feel. I hope I'm wrong, but like you said, that main event itself sells itself. That's the kind of fight that every boxing fan has been clamoring for years. Two of the best, two of the greatest future Hall of Famers, undefeated guys in their prime. This is what we want to see. So everything else is just like, we'll take it. But it's very sneaky, Gio, that they snuck in Shakur Stevenson. He's probably gonna boast after this event, like I'm a pay-per-view fighter now. I fought under the pay-per-view, kind of event. So not that anyone's gonna, buy that reasoning, but sneaky. We'll see what happens. Hopefully he gives us an exciting fight, but wouldn't put my money on it.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised you thought that August fight, was it August? That Crawford Madrimov fight was underwhelming. You were there live, Chris. Maybe if Pitbull would have won, maybe your opinion would have changed. I'm not sure.
Hey, if Rayo would have brawled, I think that would have sufficed. But I give Rayo his props. He did what he had to do to win. Looking back at that fight, he boxed and just barely, in my opinion, beat People Cruz. But yes, I would have been more excited if he would have brawled. ¿Para qué mentir?
Yeah, I was the most let down. I would feel, I'm gonna say Andy Ruiz once again, Chris. Once again, I think I was let down by Ruiz. It was a very winnable fight against the cheater, Big Baby Miller. But anyway, nonetheless, October 12th. I think we can transition into the other news that kind of came out as well. The Canelo Berlanga undercard. I don't know if there's a trash truck going on over there, Chris. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but anyway, I'll continue to talk over it.
Oh, Gio, keep it going. I'm moving inside. It got a little loud out here, but keep it moving.
It's all good. I can mute you. All right. So we'll keep it moving here. Chris is out of town. He's in Hawaii, so he's just out there recording this live podcast or streaming the live podcast. So we'll continue. As I was saying, other news that came out, that Canelo undercard as well. Of course, we heard about Eddie's Landy Lara versus Danny Garcia. That's for a title at middleweight somehow, some way. Caleb Plant versus Trevor McCumbee, some MAGA guy. Caleb should be able to stop him, in my opinion. Rollies fighting against Manuel Jaimes. Rollies is back. A lot of people trolling in the comment section saying that Rollies saved this card. And it says here also added Stephen Fulton against Carlos Castro. Maybe we get a Fulton appearance there. Decent undercard, Chris. I'm kind of, not going to lie, I'm a bit surprised because usually the Canelo cards don't really have, those names on the undercards. You got to pay the big dogs. So you just kind of fill them up with up-and-coming fighters. At least in this one, you get some names that we recognize.
Yeah, again, like you said, that the Canelo fight usually, again, it stands by itself. They don't do a whole lot of effort to put people on that card. Why would they, get names and shell out more money? We heard from that interview a couple weeks ago. Canelo gets 80%, so he keeps most of that cash. I would have thought he would have probably shown love to some of the younger fighters, lesser fighters, but hey, he's a smart businessman. He keeps 80% of that. So the fact that we have a couple names, I'm excited. Again, as much as we love those kinds of main events, we always want something to warm us up, something to get us ready for that main event. We don't want to just be waiting on our butts, from 4 or 5 p.m. up until the main event at 9. We want to see some good fights, man, and we get some of those in that Canelo fight card.
Are you excited for any of these in particular? Caleb Plant, McCumbee, Lara, Garcia, Rolly versus Jaimes, or Stephen Fulton's comeback, I guess you can call it?
The Lara, not so much. We know he's past his prime. He had his moment, even though he's still in that mix, belt holder. That division it's been years since it's been taken seriously. But I'm excited for Fulton and see how he comes back. Again, we know he got stopped by one of the greats. I want to see how he bounces back, from that setback. What about you, Gio?
We'll see. We'll see. I think that Caleb Plant fight is heating up. Obviously, Rolly, we'll see what he brings after being stopped by your boy, Pitbull Cruz. Lara Garcia, man, I'm not going to lie. I think it's a BS fight for a title. But I am intrigued to see what Lara and what Garcia we see that night. Obviously, they're way past their primes, but I think it's two washed up guys, so that should make it a pretty interesting fight, at least in my opinion. But let's not spend too much time on this. Let's keep it moving. Let's see what else we got here on the topics. Diego Pacheco, Chris. Diego Pacheco, the talent out of South Central LA. Homecoming fight, you can call it. Maybe, 10 minutes away, Carson, California from South Central. They're calling it LA in all the promos, so they're trying to capitalize off that, but not LA, but close enough. Diego Pacheco against veteran Sulecki, Chris, who has faced some big names, but I mean, at this point, a veteran Sulecki, is this just a fight for Pacheco to look good? What do you think about this one? He's headlining. I'm sure there'll be a good turnout here in Carson, but what are your thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, Diego Pacheco, he's an interesting guy. Of course, here he's very talented. He's got power. He's got height. He's got some of those things that everybody wishes they were born with. He just happens to have them. Of course, we know that, as he continues fighting, he'll get bigger and tougher as time. It almost feels like, when are we going to get him to really step up to the top 15? So I feel like this fight is going to get him there closer. So he has to start taking some dangerous fights, some tough fights to see where he's at with the top 15. So I think this fight gets him closer to that, Gio. So I'm excited again for him. I know that, you personally met him, and he's a likable guy, So I just want to see where he's at. Again, if we think of guys like Jared Anderson, who have been protected throughout their career, and then when they step up to something big, boom, that happens. So obviously we want to see Diego Pacheco, build himself correctly, but it's time to take those bigger steps, in my opinion.
Yeah, and look, Sulecki, obviously you see some of the notable names. He has 2 losses there. He lost to Demetrius Andrade. What did Canelo call him? Horrible fighter, man. He's a horrible fighter. He also lost to Daniel Jacobs. He defeated Gabriel Rosado. Right, those are his notable fights there. Sulecki, 32-2, 12 KOs. He's from Poland, 35 years old, and I'm gonna highlight that 12 KOs right there. I think perfect opponent for Pacheco, a guy who's older, not much KO power, a guy who has a very good record, you can say. He's fought big names, but yeah, I think this is a fight for Pacheco to shine. Pacheco 21-0, 17 KOs, 23 years old only, 6'4", you mentioned that height. Very tall, even for a 168-pounder, even for a guy who looks skinny when you watch him fight. But he's got very good power. Only 4 of his opponents have survived. He won his last fight by unanimous decision in April of this year. So, yeah, I think this is a good homecoming bout for Pacheco. We also got some friends of the show on the undercard. Adelaida Ruiz is on that. La Cobra, you see it here, 16-0. But not much, not a lot there, honestly. You can watch that fight live from Carson, California, or on DAZN.
Yeah, no, this is a big moment for Adelaida Ruiz, Gio. We've known her for years, and we know her than more just the fighter. She's the mom, 3 kids, working, regular jobs, busting her butt off to get to these fights. There were times where we named like behind the scenes some names, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not ready for those." She gets it super real with us, but the fact that she's getting this opportunity, getting telecasted, big money, life-changing money. Again, this is what all these fighters aspire. They're not just fighters; they're prize fighters. So, something's got to give, and in this case, it's a big opportunity on TV to get recognized and to move on up. So again, we're excited for her. We know that she packs a lot of skill, and I'm sure once she steps in the ring and gets in there with these higher level opposition, she's gonna see that she's up on that level, and she's gonna move on up.
Yeah, so I'll be tuned into that. I do want to watch Pacheco against Sulecki, and I do want to watch La Cobra de Laida Ruiz. So I'll be tuned into the zone this Saturday. But let's keep it moving, Chris. Let's keep it moving. Let's see what else. Of course, we got Hoya Inoue against veteran TJ Doheny. Let me go ahead and mute Chris there. I'll turn you back on, Chris. But Naoya Inoue, TJ Doheny. Look, man, I'm not gonna waste too much time on this. I'm gonna keep it real, okay? I'm gonna keep it real. I'm predicting a KO. All right. This won't even go on our predictions. I'm not gonna lie. On our prediction sheet, I won't even put it on there. 27-0. Naoya Inoue, 24 KOs, 31 years old, undisputed in 2 weight classes. He is fighting TJ Doheny, who's 26-4. And then you see right there his previous opponents for Naoya Inoue. Luis Neri, very good win in Tokyo, stopped him. Marlon Tapales stopped him. Stephen Fulton stopped him. Paul Butler stopped him. Nonito Donaire stopped him. So this guy has got a good KO streak. All right. Nonito, actually, the last guy to not be stopped by Inoue, 2019. You guys remember that fight? Inoue broke a few bones on his face. Nonito took him deep waters, but Inoue was able to pull that off and then stopped him in the second fight. Let's see how TJ Doheny is coming into this one. As I said, 26-4, 20 KOs, good power for the man out of Ireland. 37 years old, though. 37 years old for Doheny. And you see some of the notable names there. Michael Conlan, he lost to. Daniel Roman, he lost to as well in a close one. And those are, you can say, as 2 notable names. Great opportunity for Doheny. However, I mean, I think we can all expect the KO, right, Chris? Do you expect anything different?
No, as much as I respect Doheny, and he's fought at everybody. He's been on the B side so many times to come up on the losing end, but he's always there to fight. When you need a guy to step up and fill in for one of these champions, Doheny's kind of like that one guy that will step up. So I respect to him, but I do not see anything different against the monster. And again, I think if he would have fought, the monster, his last fight, everybody would have said like no chance. The fact that he got dropped, that the monster got dropped, kind of makes you think like, oh, maybe there's a slight chance if you're Doheny, but outside of that, there's no chance, man. The monster is just too good. He's so good that he had to go up 2-3 classes just to find some competition. So again, much respect to DJ Doheny, but this is why this guy's the number 1 pound for pound alongside, Alexander Usyk. There's a reason why he is the best in the world and why he already has a Hall of Fame kind of career. So yeah, no less than 1% chance for DJ Doheny, in my opinion.
Okay, so Big Bro says monster and 4 or 5. Are you giving him more rounds than that for TJ? You think he goes past 4 or 5?
If he goes more than 4 or 5, then I'll give him props. But I also don't see him. The monster is just on a whole different level. He is just on a different level, and he's the most complete fighter I've seen in the last 7-8 years. So no, I think he dismantled Doheny in under 5. What about you, Gio? What do you think?
Wow. I think he might go 5. I agree with 4 or 5. Look, I'll just say 6. I'll just say 6. You'll say under 5. I'll just say 6. But yeah, I think he's gonna get dismantled. But I'm kind of liking these tests that Inoue is taking. I think this is more of a stay busy fight. However, Doheny does have power, 20 KOs and 26 wins. Nettie had power. Nettie dropped him. So I think as he continues to move up, this is 122. As he goes up to 126, I think he'll be a little more prepared to take punches from those bigger guys. But yeah, that's going down Tuesday. All right, don't forget Tuesday, live from Tokyo. He's killing it over there. September 3rd. It's gonna be early again for us, very early in the morning. So by the time we stream our next podcast, we'll be talking about this. It's gonna be fresh out the oven. All right, so September 3rd for us on the West Coast. Probably what I'm gonna say, like 3-4 a.m. again. It's gonna be early in the morning, so check that out. I think this is the event with a few. I think there's some other title fights on this one as well. So you see it there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights total. So yeah, tune in ESPN plus the monster Naoya Inoue. I think he's 1 or 2 pound for pound, Chris. I mean, to me, it's between him or Usyk. Pick your guy. I'm not mad at it. One thing is for certain to me, though, I don't think a name like Doheny really keeps you at number 1.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah, and again, Gio, like I think Doheny goes in with some a little bit of confidence. If he had to be true to himself and who the monster is, I think as much as you want to convince yourself, it's hard to go in with some kind of confidence against an ultra skilled fighter like Naoya Inoue. But after getting dropped, something in you says, if that guy could drop him, I can hurt him somehow, and I can shock the world. But again, that just shows how tough Inoue is, that he can get dropped, not panic, not succumb to the pressure. You saw that he still had his legs under him. It's not like he was on wobbly legs. That's really scary. That's tough. Knowing that you could drop a guy, but he's gonna get up and kill you that same round. So again, 1% chance, in my opinion, being respectful to JT Doheny, but very tough against the monster, Gio. Very tough. So if he goes past 5, I'll give him props.
All right, so we're going KO Inoue. All right, like I said, stay busy fighting. We'll see what's next. We'll see if he stays at 22, continues to defend that undisputed crown, or if he goes up to 126. But there's big fights for Inoue, that's for sure. But hey, let's go ahead and move on. I want to show you guys this poll because September, there's going to be some good fights, some good action. All right, so posted this poll. Which fight are you most excited for in the month of September? We got Inoue Doheny. We got Canelo versus Berlanga. We got Munguia, who's returning against Bazinian. Not sure who that is, but Munguia's back. That's on ESPN. And then Joshua versus Dubois toward the end of the month. And let's go ahead and see how the people voted here. Inoue Doheny, 16%. Munguia Bazinian, 4%. Joshua Dubois, which was the one I voted for, only 24%. Canelo Berlanga, 56%. Over 1,000 votes. So the face of boxing, of course, we know he has a ton of fans. People still voted for that one, Chris. Not sure which one you're more excited for. Is it Berlanga, Canelo Berlanga, Inoue, Joshua, Munguia's return?
To me, on an individual level, I think I'm most excited to see Inoue. I think we just know that destruction is coming. So me, as seeing one fighter's skills, their talents, it would probably have to be the number 1 for 1 pound fighter in the world. When it comes to competitive fight, I would have to go with Joshua Dubois. I mean, just some of the behind the scenes antics, some of the interviews, some of the face-offs. It's interesting, man. And again, Joshua is kind of getting back to as close as he was at his peak. Not necessarily his peak where he was the most marketable, but he's getting a little bit up there. And Dubois, again, I give him props for what he did to Alexander Usyk. He shocked me, surprised me in that fight. He's been great ever since. So I think he's got a chance. He's got a good chance to beat Anthony Joshua. So overall, as a competitive scheme, that one is the one that most excites. Again, I can't forget Canelo and Berlanga. We said it a couple weeks ago, leading up to that fight. When that fight was announced, we're like, I am not excited at all about that fight. We know it's going to be a walk in the park for the face of boxing for Canelo. This guy Berlanga is just not on his level. I still feel that way, but I give Berlanga his props because he's kind of made it exciting, at least on the trash talking level, trying to get under Canelo's skin. He's been saying just the right things to market this fight. Not so many people are going to give him a chance, but he does have that power, so he can land something shocking. He could give Canelo some trouble until he gets knocked out, but at least I would have to give Berlanga some props for selling that fight, Gio. Give me your thoughts.
No, I agree 100%. I think he turned it around quickly from the very first time they announced this fight. He was very respectful. Next thing you know, he was being rude, disrespectful. As Canelo said, "Man, why you got to be rude?" He said, that's not you." But Berlanga's been talking a lot of trash ever since, and now I'm sure he made some enemies. I'm seeing a lot of comments under his page, or just in general, a lot of people, a lot of Puerto Ricans saying, "Hey, we're with Canelo. We don't claim this guy." So, yeah, they're selling it. They're selling it for sure. But let me ask you about Jaime Munguia. He's returning against Bazinian. I don't know much about his opponent. The fight is on ESPN. Oscar De La Hoya has since said, hey, he doesn't have a deal with Top Rank. It's just for this fight or whatnot. He's still Golden Boy. But give me your thoughts on his return after the Canelo loss. It seemed like Canelo had some mercy for him. Didn't hurt him much. Kind of let him survive. Let him go the distance, it seems like. Canelo kind of admitted to that as well. Yeah. But he's returning now. We'll have more time to get into his opponent and check out that record and all that. But give me your thoughts on Munguia.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that statement. If Canelo doesn't land that punch, and I think it was the 11th or 12th round, it would have severely hurt Jaime Munguia. And of course, we first hear this, by the fans and by the so-called experts. But when you take the time and you hear the coaches and trainers and all those people that truly know boxing, they're the ones that say, like, if Canelo would have landed that punch, Jaime Munguia probably would have sat out the rest of the year. I think of that punch where Muhammad Ali was about to land it on George Foreman, 8th round. Ali had him. He had him beat. Could have landed that one punch, and even George Foreman says it. That punch I wouldn't be the man I am today. I would be seriously different. So the fact that Jaime Munguia is coming back just shows you, like, hey, I'm hungry. I took a loss. I took a loss to one of the greats. I want to get back into it. And again, he's in good physical form because Canelo carried him just a little bit. So we know that Canelo has a bit of a track record for doing that. When he respects his opponent, when he has them beat, he'll not impose more damage that he could easily do. So again, it brings me back to that respect point that he has with Berlanga. I think Berlanga, like you said, started off respecting Canelo, got the fight. As soon as he got the fight, I'm sure he heard people like us saying, you don't stand a chance. He had to sell this fight, and he's been doing a good job about it. And this brings me back to another guy that I want to fight, Canelo. If that guy takes notes from Berlanga, be respectful, but Jaime Munguia, give Canelo his flowers. Don't talk trash. Maybe you'll get this fight, and as soon as that fight gets made, talk all the trash that you want. And trust me, we're here for it. We're here for that drama. We're here for that fight. But yeah, man. Again, it's the Canelo show. He's here for another couple of years, yo. I'm overall excited just to see how much near his prime Canelo still is.
Yeah, and Cotto comes to mind when we mentioned Canelo kind of stepping off that gas pedal. Remember that Cotto fight? Looked like he could have done more damage, but respected Cotto a little too much. Now that we're talking about 168, we talked about Diego Pacheco, who's fighting this Saturday. Give me your thoughts on Christian and Billy. Not Christian Mosqueda, Christian and Billy. You know, he defeated Sergey Derevchenko, a one-handed Derevchenko who looked like he tore his bicep. Derevchenko, obviously a crafty, tough veteran. A lot of people thought that fight should have been stopped, but do you think Billy can insert his name among those guys? You know, obviously Munguia got his shot. We talked about Caleb Plant earlier too. He got his shot. Can Billy be a possible opponent for Canelo?
He's definitely swimming in and around his division. He's making a name for himself slowly but surely. I predicted a couple weeks ago. I thought that Mbili was going to actually stop Davidichenko. I thought he was too young, too fresh, too unknown, which makes them, in my opinion, dangerous. You know, when you hear the name but you don't know enough about them. You know, I think of a guy like Austin Trout. When Austin Trout surprised Cotto, I thought we were going to get something like that. But since Davidichenko was a little bit older, I did expect Mbili to knock him out, to TKO him. We saw that he didn't do that. We saw that Sergey Derevchenko, one arm, took the fight to him, and even though he lost that fight convincingly, he just showed warrior and grit in him, and it shows why many people thought he beat Triple G, and it gave a lot of these other fighters the fight of their lives. I feel like Derevchenko is kind of like that uncrowned champion, but you know, to stay on Mbili, I think he's enough of a name where the Canelos who've already racked up everything in and around that division might be like, oh, you know what? To finish up my career, let me fight this young kid. You know, he's tough, he's wily, he's skilled, but he doesn't pose enough danger. So I can see him Billy getting that call maybe a year and a half, 2 years from now, Gio. But so far, so good. It just shows that Davinchenko really, really is a warrior. And then Billy maybe not as good as I thought, but we'll see what happens, man. Again, experience for him, and he's only going to get better from this fight.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was a little disappointed by Billy. We thought he was going to stop Derevchenko, especially if you once you watch the fight and saw Derevchenko get hurt. You're like, oh man, Billy's going to stop him at any point, but he wasn't able to do it. Wasn't able to capitalize. So I was a bit disappointed, but we'll see. There was a pretty good turnout there in Canada for Billy. So if he continues to make noise, and I'm sure that can happen. Maybe a Munguia fight. Munguia is working on ESPN for his next fight. So I think Billy can get a big fight. I'm not sure. I agree with the ESPN commentators. They were trying to hype him up. They were saying that Canelo was going to duck him because he was up next and this and that. But you know those guys on ESPN, Chris. I'm not even going to say names. You guys know them.
You gotta take those commentators with a grain of salt, man. I mean, I'm sure if they hired us, Gio, one day they'd be like, hey, give this guy some love, man. We'll give you a couple more zeros on that check.
Whew, let's do it.
I mean, hey, it's a job, you know. But I don't know. Again, you gotta take the commentator with a grain of salt.
Hey, once you sign that paper, man, it comes with conditions, terms and conditions, you know. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and quickly move on to what we got next. We mentioned September. You see some of the key dates there. Obviously, Canelo, Berlanga, September 14th, Las Vegas. That's on pay-per-view. Joshua Dubois, September 21. London, Wembley. I know Turkey just posted today that they applied for an extension for more seats at the Wembley Stadium because it was selling so well. So that's going down in London, September 21. DAZN pay-per-view. Obviously, October, Beterbiev versus Bivol. Shakur Stevenson added to the undercard. I wouldn't even mention these exhibitions, Chris. We had one last weekend too. I don't know if you want to talk about it. I'm gonna stay away from that topic. But at the end of the year, we are getting Usyk, Fury. Hopefully no more injuries. December 21, DAZN pay-per-view. So I'm gonna quickly scroll down so you guys can see what else is coming up next. Jaime Munguia, that's in Glendale, Arizona, September 20th. ESPN Plus. John Pascal still fighting. Wow. Quebec, Canada, September 21. Michaela Mayer, September 27. This was a good fight for me right here, Chris. September 27, Fayetteville, Georgia, Alicia Baumgardner against Delphine Persoon. I like that fight. Delphine Persoon Very tough fighter. Many of us thought she defeated Katie Taylor. And now she's going up against Alicia Baumgartner. One of my favorite fighters, Chris. One of my favorite fighters.
Yeah, no, that's a good fight, Gio. Again, we know Alicia, very marketable young lady. She's got a great team behind her, great backing, and for soon, she's the one girl that convinced a lot of the boxing fans that she can hold her own against the likes of Katie Taylor. So that's a good fight. Good little scrap.
That is, as we move on to October there. Not much besides Beterbiev, Bivol, Takuma Inoue, October 13th, Tokyo, ESPN Plus. He's coming up, man. Takuma Inoue. Let's see, Nakatani back in action also in Tokyo, October 14th, the next day. Jack Catterall, Regis Prograis, October 26th. I think that was moved. Match 3 England, DAZN. So kind of quiet, a little quiet for October, but September is where it's at right now.
Yeah, the September is hot again. Gio, face the box, dude. We gotta appreciate them while we got them, because one day they're gonna become the triple G's and get old and not be where they were. So we gotta appreciate the Canelos while we have them, while they're still focused, disciplined, and amongst the peak of their powers.
All right, so you mentioned Triple G, Chris. I'm gonna just entertain this just for now, all right? Because I got both of these faces up on your screen right now.
Right.
Chris, I'm sure can't see it, but you guys at home can. All right. I think you know what I'm talking about here. All right. Here it is.
I can't see my screen right now, so
He can't
tell
see
me.
it, but I had this guy here. No, I'm gonna go ahead and flip that to this guy here because the rumors, I think you sent me the screenshot or something. Triple G, Terrence Crawford. Should we even entertain that, Chris?
Ooh, with that image, that's when I sent that. Obviously, I was like, "This is something I think Turkey or somebody mentioned." I
Yeah.
wouldn't send something unless there was a little bit of backing behind it. Do we entertain it? I think they're in their point of careers where it can be interesting. Again, we've seen the Triple G's fight the Kell Brooks of the world, where it didn't favor a guy like Kell Brooks. Obviously some of these guys walk around 160, 165, thinking that they can mix it up with these middleweights, these super middles. So do they an age in Triple G versus a in near his prime Terrence Crawford? I think you can entertain it a little bit. I think it's interesting that the aging fighter is the bigger fighter, and he's got a great chin, but you got a smaller guy who's in his peak of his powers, who doesn't have he's got power, but doesn't have the same power that translates in the higher weight classes. So it could be interesting, and I can see it even in aging Triple G hurt Terrence, and Terrence winning a majority of the rounds. So it's not super sexy, but I'm a little interested, Gio. What about you?
I don't know. I actually think it'll be an interesting fight, but this is why I won't entertain Canelo versus Crawford, even though a lot of people do talk about this fight as if it's realistic. Canelo against Triple G right now, I mean, that's a wash, right?
Have to watch.
G might get hurt. We saw how that third fight went. And that's what I'm saying. There's levels to this because Crawford versus Triple G might be a competitive fight. Canelo versus Triple G is not a competitive fight at this point in time. So please stop mentioning Canelo's name or Crawford's name alongside Canelo's because they're not on the same level. They've never been. Turkey, rumors are he just lost about 10 million promoting Crawford's event. We talked about how great the production was, how great the promotion was. Everything was great. They had Eminem out there. They had some great events at the Santa Monica Pier between the media workout and the weigh-ins. I think were in LA Live, if I'm not mistaken. It was great, man. It was in LA. A lot of people interested. They put the Mexican names on there: Andy Ruiz, Pitbull Cruz. And even with all that being said, they still lost a lot of money. That's what the rumor on the street is. 10 million is probably nothing for Big Turk, right? For that family. But point is, they're still losing a lot of money with Crawford. All right. So I think it's smart of Crawford to you know, attach his name to Canelo. Everybody's doing it, right? Anybody from 154 all the way to 175, they're all attaching their names to Canelo because most of them can't sell. You know, now the rumors of Triple G and Crawford, I don't think it hurts Crawford's brand. You know, hey, keep doing it, man. You got to sell. You're obviously not selling right now, so but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Triple G, I'm sure you've seen the latest videos. He looks pretty heavy. You know, he was training some guys in the gym. They posted a clip of it and looked a little heavy, man. So I'm not sure he returns, but might be interesting.
Yeah, like you said, Joe, he's past his prime. Obviously, we've seen in that third rubber match with Canelo. Not the Triple G of the first fight, not the Triple G of the second fight. Nowhere near the Triple G that we saw destroy guys to the middleweight division. If it was that Triple G, then you'd be like, yeah, no way. Sorry, Terrence, not happening. The fact that it's an aging Triple G, an overweight Triple G, slower Triple G, it makes it a little bit interesting. But I will guarantee you, if Triple G somehow reverses time, loses all that excess weight, even at what 40 years old, I think he will destroy Terence Crawford. Just because again, there's weight classes for a reason. But right now, just because of those things, it makes it interesting. But we'll see what happens. I don't think it will happen. But if anybody makes it happen, it's gonna be a guy like Turkey.
Yeah, you never know, man. Hey, when this money starts flying around, man, a lot of guys are getting in line, so you never know. But Chris, hey, we'll let you go. We'll let you continue to enjoy your vacation. As we said, we got some action this Saturday here in the LA area. Pacheco, it's going down, and then Inoue on Tuesday, I believe it is. So yeah, man, stay tuned to that. Stay tuned to that. Let me double check. It's September 3rd. Yeah, that is a Tuesday, early in the morning. So stay tuned to that. We'll be back next week to break it all down, and of course, we'll be previewing some of the action that's coming up. Canelo Berlanga, that whole undercard with Plant, with Rollies, with Lara versus DSG, Danny Swift Garcia, and everything that's going down in November, man. Munguia's return, Joshua Dubois, obviously Inoue, Doheny, as we mentioned before. So we'll be back to break it all down, and yeah, man, we'll be back soon.
Yeah, just thank you to everybody for tuning in. Even in Hawaii, we're gonna put a podcast out, so we wanted to set some time just to get love to the sport that we all love. But yeah, I'm excited, Joe, for September. Like you said, October might be a little slow, but maybe we get some good fights from the ones that we don't expect to be good. I mean, they can't be worse than Shakur Stevenson. I'll say that much. But dude, I'm excited for September. Inoue, Canelo, and to see let's see how Stephen Fulton bounces back, man. He's a good champion, and we'll see how much of him wasn't lost in that Inoue fight.
Yeah, hey, in other news, Oscar De La Hoya posted another video today, Chris, man.
Oh my
If you
God.
haven't checked your phone, don't go on Oscar De La Hoya's profile. All right, and that's all I'm going to tell you. But
Oscar's wilding, man. I know people say these things like he's living his best life, but he's just living his crazy life, man. That's all I can say. If there was a reality show, oh my goodness, that'd be something else. But hey, do your thing, Oscar. Do your thing.
yeah, and he's done a series of interviews too, where he's saying a lot. So interesting stuff, interesting stuff. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and get out of here. Thank you guys for keeping that chat lit. Shout out to you guys who will be watching or listening to this replay. We will be back next week. Thank you, mates.
Let's go.
Thank you. We'll be back soon.
Berlanga, doing it right, man. Sell that fight.
Bolicua.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Francisco Gallo Estrada. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas, un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Do you huge shout out to Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview, and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time out y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.